Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Steve Collins getting ready to wrap up a wonderful day today. I wanted to just mention a little something to you, feeling like Forrest Gump. Time with God is kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. From Steve Gump. And what do I mean by that? I'll give you a great example of it today. So, obviously, we have 7 kids. 6 are still here in the house with us. And depending on who is having a rough day, when Angela and I need to go out and take care of really, Facebook, really, Facebook's kind of like a box of chocolate too. You never know what you're going to get. So I wanted to just share with you something that I thought was very poignant today. And that was this. One of our kids, if they're having a rough time or a rough day, we'll take them with us individually when we go to do errands and stuff. And here's the funny part about it. They're usually in a rotten mood. That's why we're taking that one. We're pulling that little element out of the equation here at home. And they may not be in the best mood. They may be having a rough day, maybe having a challenging time. And yet we take them with us because we want to spend time with them one on one. And here's the funny thing. Man, Facebook Live sucks sometimes. Well, our kids never, when we say, okay, hey, Josh, you're going with us today, they never say, oh, that's awesome, Dad. I can't wait to go with you. That's going to be fun. Yeah, let me go with you and Mom. They never really want to go because, see, we're intentionally choosing them because they're the one that's having the hard time that day getting along or doing the chores or whatever. And yet, by the time we come home, they always say the same thing. When we're pulling into the garage, they're like, Mom, Dad, sorry for how I was today, and thank you so much for everything you did for me today. Thank you so much for what you did. And what does that mean, what I did? See, we relate with them, we listen, we have conversation, and just like an iron, one of the greatest examples I've heard of a man and woman fighting is this. I say when a man and woman fight, a man's like a light switch. You just have to flip the switch and he's good because he can compartmentalize it. A woman is like an iron that's been plugged in. You can unplug it, there's no energy to it, but buddy, don't you grab that thing for a while because it takes a minute to cool down. And it's kind of like that with our kiddos as well. So when we get back home after spending the day with the kids, they will always say thank you. Because you see, it's our intention that when they spend time with us, they'll glean a little bit of wisdom, they'll get a little understanding, they'll have the only persons maybe on earth who truly, 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 besides their grandparents, maybe even their brothers and sisters, who would really take a bullet for them and want the best for them and can see past all the issues and the character flaws and the development issues because, see, we know their history, we know their past, we know what they've been through, we know how they relate to their brothers and sisters, we know how they relate in the world. We understand them better than pretty much anybody else does because we have a history from the time they were born with how they are developing as children. So when we see them, someone on the outside world might look at one of the kids and make a judgment like we do. We tend to be judgmental people, most people do, where they will take a look at that person and say, oh, that kid must be like this or that family must be like that. But as the parent, you know the history. You see the history. You see what has gone on from the day that child was born, all their struggles, all their strengths, all their weaknesses. And by the time we've spent time with that child for the day, 2-3 hours maybe, they always get home. They've been humbled and they say, Mom, Dad, thank you. And I'm sorry. And we restore a relationship with them and their spirit is restored. And then something we always make sure we do, there's always a blessing attached to spending time with us too. You see, we'll take them to Chick-fil-A, we'll get them some nuggets, we'll take them to Orange Leaf. We'll do something with them that is unique to them, that is special for them. So what is my point? I bring it all home to this. When our children are going through a rough time, we individually pull them out and call them out for a moment, for a season, for a time, for a few hours. And they don't want to be with us during that time because they want to be alone and isolated, just deal with their own stuff. But we pull them in. And after they've been around us for a while, they're listened to, they're heard, they're understood, and they get blessed. Something special happens. And friend, that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. The most unnatural thing for the average person to do when they're going through a super hard time or really broken or hurting is to humble themselves and reach out, get on their knees and spend some time with the good Lord. That's a difficult thing for a lot of people. And yet that's what I'm going to challenge those of you to do that don't do that. That when you spend time with the one who knows your history, was there from the moment you were born, has seen all of the ups, all of the downs, all the broken times, all the hurting season, who has collected every tear that you've ever cried, who is by your side every night that that pillow was wet with brokenness, tears, and pain and anguish. The person who's seen your successes and your victories, and the one who's been there during the darkest times, knows what you need. You may not want to spend time with him, but he certainly wants to spend time with you to give you wisdom and peace and understanding, to know that you're heard, to know that you're loved, and many times he's just waiting to pour out a blessing on you that you can't contain, that's pressed down, shaken over, and overflowing when you spend time with him. Friends, spending time with God is like a box of chocolate. You just never know what you're going to get. The next time you feel like avoiding him because of something you've done or you feel like you can fix it yourself, my challenge to you is get on your knees, get alone, spend some time, and see what happens. Maybe you'll get a chocolate-covered almond. Who knows? But I'll tell you this, it'll be good. Have a great evening, guys.